Hey guys, Station X here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Cyberpunk Xbox Special Edition controller. This is a limited edition controller to obviously commemorate the release of Cyberpunk. And so, obviously, I'm sure I don't have to explain to you guys what Cyberpunk is because it was one of the most hyped games of the recent memory. I'm not necessarily here to talk about what went wrong with Cyberpunk. I'm here to talk about the controller. I did want to give a little just kind of context to the controller a bit, because obviously Xbox is kind of known for making really, really nice special edition controllers, and this one here is no exception. They wanted to make a controller in conjunction with Cyberpunk, and so that game was looking to be one of the greatest games of all time. So it was kind of a bummer to hear that Cyberpunk was just, like once it was all said and done, it was just not good. But I remember at the stores, Cyberpunk merchandise was everywhere, and this kind of stuff was no exception. I mean, it didn't even just stop with something like this. They had keyboards, mouse pads, action figures, even a whole phone had like the Cyberpunk logos and things like that. It's like a whole cell phone. So to say that this game was not a big, this game was a big deal, it's an understatement. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a pretty big deal, and so just something that I just think that it's crazy that something that was considered such a big deal just ended up now when people talk about it, it's just making fun of how bad it is as far as like glitches and stuff. And I know people still. People don't always feel that way with Cyberpunk. Some people do very much enjoy it. Maybe they haven't experienced all the bugs and stuff that happened, and they experienced a pretty good story and stuff. And like that's always been the consensus of like there's a good story underneath the game, which has always been bad. But this controller, I gotta say, it's pretty good looking. Just from the picture alone, I do like the way the reds accent the steel look that they have. They have like this kind of almost building-esque look to it with like the different steel colorings here. Of course, they have like some almost like knife sketches, like no future sort of thing. I love when Xbox does that sort of thing because of the fact that it just shows a little attention to detail. And during the Xbox One generation and kind of bleeding over to the Series X generation of controllers, those little details is what the Xbox controllers are known for. I mean, like PlayStation has put up some pretty good controllers, but they do not go to this extent, in my personal opinion. They kind of just go do the paint route, which is fine, and that was what it used to be, and it was great. But like Xbox just goes on another level. But to just kind of like get through this, the box is completely covered in just the Cyberpunk logos and things of that nature. Of course, I was kind of surprised the Cyberpunk controller itself didn't have a hint of yellow on it. But I mean, hey, like opening this up, got this nice, beautiful controller, and of course, double A's. I swear, Xbox is the only console at this point that uses batteries other than third-party companies. And it's just insane to me why they just refuse to go like the rechargeable battery route. They could sell that separately. Why need to include in the controller? But here we got this nice shiny metallic silver, which is great. You got this nice steel look here. The reds, I gotta say, I really love the red. Like I love that dark red. It's almost like a blood red, which is just my favorite kind of red. I just like the way it looks. But yeah, I also just like the idea of having separate, like, this isn't all one color. Like this has its own color compared to these, which I wish the lab controllers let you do. I'm not too sure if they, as of recording, if they do this yet. But you can't just kind of go, oh, I want this bumper, this color, this color, and then this separate. Like this whole piece has to kind of be one color, and vice versa. Like if you pick bumpers, it's got to be the same. But like that's what I like about that. You also got some different things right here, 2077 with that little barcode over here. I don't know if that does anything or whatever. And you got this nice little design right here of a mask. It's pretty neat. Sometimes they have designs in the inside of the battery cover, which is nice. And they also have this rubber grip. Some controllers have it, some don't. Some have textures on the top of the triggers, and this one does not. But this has the rubber grip. If you're not a fan of that, then I would maybe skip this controller. You know, I'm not too crazy about rubber grips, but I mean, they're nice to have. They're not that big of a deal. And just look at all this little, like, attention to detail. Like, they really go all out with their controllers. Like, laser etching here to get that nice detail in. These nice scratch marks. Yeah, honestly, Xbox does a pretty good job with their controllers. But that'll pretty much be it. You know, it's not too much to really go over. It's a fairly basic controller. It just looks very pretty. Now, do you need this controller? You know, these are discontinued, obviously. So if you're a fan of Cyberpunk, I would suggest going for it. But other than that, it's on the cheaper end, I will say. Most special edition controllers, because they're sought after, they're pretty expensive. They get into the $100 ranges and stuff. This was not too much more money. I mean, I think I paid about $80 with shipping and all that. So it's not that expensive, really. It's I want to say it's maybe $20 more expensive than a standard controller. So I don't think that's that bad, considering it's this nice special design and stuff. I just knocked it over. And I think it's because of the fact that Cyberpunk didn't really do all too hot that it's like the way it is. So, you know, that's just it. I mean, the only thing I can really add to it is just, I really wish Xbox controllers just made this the standard and used, like rechargeable batteries. I just don't understand why they don't. But also, yeah, of course, this is not USB-C. This is before they started doing that. Like, this is, I think, one of the last controllers they did for the original Xbox, like the Xbox One and not Series X or whatever. But let me know what you guys think. Do you enjoy Cyberpunk? Do you enjoy this controller? Do you think it's nice? What's your favorite special edition controller? I'd like to hear in the comments below. I've been Station X, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.